may have heard lately about predictions markets. They have been making news for everything from presidential elections to secret military operations. But what exactly are prediction markets, and should you be paying any attention to them yourself? With us here to talk about that is our tech guy, Rich Brooks from Flight New Media in Portland. Good to see you as always, Rich. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, this is an interesting topic, but let's just start with a very straightforward, basic question. What is a prediction market?
Rob, think of it like it's like the stock market, but instead of buying shares in a company, you're betting on whether or not something will actually occur. Will the Fed raise rates? Will Taylor Swift have her wedding in New York? Will the Patriots make it back to the Super Bowl? You buy a yes or no contract, and if you're right, they pay out. And the two big players in this arena are Kalshi and Polymarket. Kalshi is based in the U.S. and is federally regulated. Polymarket is a crypto-based platform, but between the two of them, they handle over $24 billion with a B dollars each month in trades.
So the obvious question, which everyone poses, is this sounds an awful lot like gambling. Is that what it is?
Well, that's the debate that's at the heart of this. So like I said, Kalshi is federally regulated. It's overseen by, let me see if I get this, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which is the same group that oversees futures tradings on the stock market. And their founder says this is nothing more than a financial exchange that allows people to mitigate risk in real-world situations. But not everybody's buying it. A lot of states have injunctions or even lawsuits against these platforms. In fact, in Nevada, they actually have a restraining order against these platforms. So the legal side of it is still undecided.
What is the appeal of these prediction markets if you're not placing a bet?
People find them very interesting because very often these prediction markets are better than polls or experts when it comes to predicting the future. And I think it's because when people have to spend their own money, they tend to be a lot more honest than if they just get a call from a pollster and answer a survey. The other thing is there's this theory called the wisdom of crowds, which basically states that large groups of people can more accurately predict something than a team of experts. And beyond that, there's just kind of the entertainment and maybe voyeuristic approach. You go to these websites and see all the things that people are willing to put money on.
Even people who aren't paying a lot of attention to the markets themselves have heard some of the big news stories about them. What's happening there?
Yeah, crazy stuff. So you remember back in January, the U.S. government captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Well, somebody on Polymarket put a $33,000 bet and won $400,000 on the idea that Maduro would be removed from power that same month. And what raised a lot of eyebrows is that that bet came in just hours before the U.S. government announced the raid, and the account was only like 2 days old when it bet it. So there were a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, because that sounds like insider trading in effect.
Yes, and the Department of Justice agrees with you. So the DOJ ended up arresting an Army Special Forces Major Sergeant who was involved both in the planning and execution of the raid, who said they said he used confidential information or classified information to place that bet. And right now, that was the first case where the DOJ actually arrested somebody for insider trading on these platforms, but it definitely won't be the last.
All right, so that cautionary tale aside, should average people consider, getting involved in these prediction markets?
It certainly sounds like fun, like the idea that you can bet on the weather or pop culture or politics. But analysts warn that the gamification of these websites makes them highly addictive, kind of like going to a casino. The other side of it is that people are losing on these platforms at a 2-to-1 ratio. And that's because the accounts that are winning are these bot-like accounts that are running sophisticated algorithms. So it's not like you're betting against me. It's like you're betting against a team of experts with an AI support system in place. So my recommendation is go there if you want to be entertained, but only be willing to bet as much as you can afford to lose and still have a smile on your face.
Yeah, smile on your face being the most important part of that advice. Good suggestions, as always. Rich Brooks, thank you so much. If you'd like to know more about Rich and his firm, Flight New Media, we've got a link that you'll find in the 207 section of our app or website. Stick around, back with more right after this.